Have you ever considered like trying to do something apart from acting in the world of film, or is that you're pretty set on that as a
Um,
specific?
I've thought about writing, but I don't. There's something that's made me a bit apprehensive. Uh, about like writing a script or even something as simple as just writing dialogues. Like two people at a cafe or something. I think writing something that I'm definitely gonna put more effort into, and it's I'll definitely be hitting you guys up about that privately for sure. But I've thought about directing, but not really.
I've been thinking about directing, but it's kind of a not really too. To all these,
All it does is
Yeah.
make me sad.
there's movie set memes exist for a reason, man. I'm just saying. I wonder. So Safian, like, actually, I want to shift gears because nobody really likes filmmaking anyway. So let's talk about music.
Oh
What,
damn! Wow.
yeah, what do
He
you
said that.
as a musician, what do you feel there's a similarity to acting that you take from, do you draw something from acting for your music?
It's interesting. I think um, for me, I think the primary thing is vulnerability,
Mm.
specifically comfort within within that. Both are forms of expression, of course, but whereas with music, I can sit in my room, and you write and you record, and I'll go as many times as I need to get that emotion across. But there's something about there's something about film sets. Like every time I get on there, I'm incredibly nervous, and you have all these moving pieces that just once you hear that action, they just still for a second, and it kind of just goes into the back, and I feel extremely vulnerable in that space, but also I don't want to say comfortable, because I think I like being uncomfortable because I realize that there's always something there's always something of meaning that comes out of it.
Yeah, it
Um,
keeps you on your toes a little bit too.
it
You know.
helps me grow all the
Mm,
time.
mm, yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
just kind of I think innately for just a creative person, irrespective of wherever you are. I think it's weirdly healthy, to kind of keep yourself in a in again the word comfortable, or it's complicated, but like in a space where you're going to be challenged,
absolutely.
because that invites potential to grow and evolve.
Yeah, you need to be challenged all the time. You need to be prepared to fail every time. You're never gonna get it. First go.
Right. I mean, see, because it goes hand in hand with either music or acting for film. There's an onslaught of rejection, a flood of like no's, in that life. For
Yeah,
directors too, for all of us really, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
part of accepting and inviting in your state of being to say, I'm gonna be in a spot that I know isn't. I'm not gonna feel like every peg is in place, but you know what? I'm gonna keep myself in that area because it kind of makes you aware of rejection as an obstacle that shouldn't veer you off into like some kind of spiral. It shouldn't put
completely
you in this.
agree.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of, because I've thought about that a lot lately after when the pandemic started. It's like, what, people are losing jobs left, right, and center, and the movie business and music industry, they're all kind of on a bit of a standstill. And I think
Yep.
it's a time right now to really reflect on, uh, to have that kind of mental capacity, not stability so much as just capacity to say, there's gonna be no's up ahead, but I'm still gonna keep my head in the game because I'm willing to take that challenge.
Yeah. No, that mental endurance is essential, man.
Mm,
But I mean, like, also in this time, like, it actually could be really helpful for up and comers. I mean, if the big industries can't release anything in theaters, then right now is your time to release things online where people can watch them. Because if they're not making stuff right now, then you should make stuff. You
Yep.
should make this. This is your chance.
hmm
Get your name out there.
It's a nice segue. Yep.
it's a lovely segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
that whole question of how the industry's responding to the pandemic and what like life after it looks like. It's all anybody's talking about right now. And like you said, Toby, kind of that approach of putting things online as opposed to in the cinema. obviously right now we have that one case with the Trolls World Tour. Was it Trolls World
Right.
Tour?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should bring this up. So
No, I want to
recently
talk about mental endurance through the difficulty, not Trolls World Tour, please.
we're talking about Trolls World Tour with Anna Kendrick, Justin Timberlake, and I
Yes.
didn't see anyone else. So what my understanding is, I'll give some people a bit of context. Is so back in a few years ago. Okay, when did the original? Okay, back in 2016, Universal releases this film Trolls. It does pretty good with in theaters. It's a kids film, so we know that if you get the kids in, you also get their parents usually, so that's great for sales. It's got Anna Kendrick, Justin Timberlake. It got one of those songs. Anyways, back in 2020, which is this year, this new movie, Trolls World Tour, has come out. I'm really glad they called it that instead of Trolls 2, because that's the infamously really bad movie from the 80s or 90s. And it was coming out, it was supposed to come out like, I don't know, like April something, but the pandemic happens. And while lots of studios are pulling these movies back to say November, September,
Sure.
the earliest I think was July or something.
Yeah.
There were some movies which were being released on video on demand, like The Invisible Man, Onward by Pixar.
Yeah.
And I guess Universal put already a lot of money into the marketing and stuff and didn't want to move it back. So they put it on video on demand. So you could rent it for like $20 for 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to understand that, most movie tickets now cost about, how much is it in the US? Like $18? I think it's something like that. So basically, for the price of one movie ticket, a whole family can watch it for repeatedly for 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And the movie actually did financially much better on video on demand than it did in theaters.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Specifically, 100 million in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah. I don't know. That sounds about right. Yeah. So Universal, during this pandemic, most likely when states reopen and businesses are allowed to start up again, movie theaters aren't going to be everyone's main concern. No one's going to be rushing to movie theaters to be cramped with a bunch of people around them. So Universal thought, you know what, this could be a solution. Let's put all our future films on video on demand so people can watch it in theaters or in the privacy of their own homes. And that seems to make a lot of sense. But there's this rule. I don't know if this is like a union rule, an official rule, how it works, but apparently there's a 90-day window between when a movie is put into theaters and when it can be put to distribute for DVDs or video on demand or streaming.
Yeah.
And so AMC said that any film that Universal releases online that does not adhere to that 90-day rule, they're not going to put in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
To which, Fareed, what have you been telling us for like the past 2 episodes or something about AMC? They
filed for bankruptcy and that they're going down, something like that.
Yeah, not a good decision, would you say? No.
It's tough out here, man.
You're touching on something that's actually speaks to a larger, I want to say problem for the sake of the filmmakers who might be listening, but like the notion that most of the content we're going to be getting will be probably moving towards VOD in a larger level. That's better for I think that's good in the sense that, of course, with what's happening in the world right now, that's a much safer option. It makes the content accessible. Josh Trank, who put out Capone, was like, I'm just glad people are seeing it. I'm just glad they're going to catch it. But then it also, when it comes to, not that I think Trolls 2 was like the epitome of what deserves a theatrical release, but like Christopher Nolan's Tenet, for example, is sticking to its July release date. And that's looked as a litmus test for like, if that movie's going to do well in theaters, how are the other movies going to follow suit? Because that's a big... Christopher Nolan is almost an IP at this level, He's a big director. And I think
Incredible.
and I think it's going to come to a point where we're probably gonna, because I read something about this too, where it's gonna be an exciting time for independent filmmakers because there's a lot more opportunities for content creation for streaming services specifically, and that's gonna be a much bigger market, more profitable market. But at the same time, we are gonna lose some of that. We're gonna lose some of those mid-budgeted films, that we see in theaters, and I think there's gonna be some. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of change for sure.
I got a friend of mine sent me an article the other day. Jamal, shout out to Jamal.
Hi, Jamal.
He
Hey, Jamal.
Hey, yo,
we love you.
We love you, Jamal. I think the Oscars changed their rules so that films can debut on streaming services and can be eligible for.
But only the ones during this time.
Yes, it's a temporary exception.
Yeah. But I think soon it's gonna have to be extended because imagine if this continued till this is a terrible thing to say, but imagine if this lockdown continued till February when the Oscars are held, and the only films they have up to nominate are Birds of Prey, Onward, Trolls 2. Trolls World Tour, not Trolls 2, and the films that came out before.
It is really interesting to see just how over the years the industry's changing in its identity. You look at streaming platforms that are coming up everywhere. You look at we have other examples like The Irishman or Rome.
Yeah.
Right. And what they managed to do. And it seems like there's going to be a lot more of that, definitely. And I don't know. Do you think because cinemas have been suffering for a while now, but do you think that maybe somehow this could be good or an opportunity for more indie cinemas even?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for indie cinema, but also for, as you pointed out, Safian, The Irishman and Roma. That's Scorsese and Cuarón. It's also an opportunity for the masters who are not getting the funding. Universal and Warner. I mean, they turned down Scorsese left, right, and center for The Irishman.
He's asking for $1 billion.
But the thing, he did, and a 25-year-old Robert De Niro who still looks 70. It is true that it's a great platform to usher in more talent in different cinema and all that, and parallel cinema, but at the same time, it's almost become much in the spirit of tentpole cinema and IP stuff. It's the case of Netflix, for example, will prioritize you if your name is Martin Scorsese or if your name is Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah.
If you're Lulu Wang, who made The Farewell.
The point actually comes from Lulu Wang. I'm not smart enough to say something like that.
Yeah, I was going to refer it back to her. But she said that it's very hard for a film like The Farewell to get on that platform and have an equal playing an even playing field, because the attention is all going, and Netflix is going to make sure that they're big. They're big marquee type names, right? And that I understand. It's a perfectly understandable. So it's it's a mixed kind of answer. I think it's a yes for it is more movies can be made, more shows from different filmmakers who can get their shot. But when if it comes to a certain kind of cinema, a 2-hour movie about a young woman going to China for her grandma or something, that is, if you're Lulu Wang, if you're Lulu Wang, that's a little harder, and I think she had to end up going for a theatrical release in the end. No, I think that was what ended up happening for a limited release. Yeah, man. It's
But basically, what I wanted to say is people who are going to excel in this new situation are really going to excel, and people who aren't, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't.
Yeah.
And
most of them won't.
Most people will not most people will not survive filmmaking. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Yeah. I think now's the time for drive-in cinemas to just make a comeback, man. Let's just get it
man.
pop.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we need that.
The real question here is, what would Wes Anderson do? This is what keeps me.
What would Wes Anderson do? Interesting. That also keeps me up at night because I haven't been able to sleep since I saw his movies. What would Wes Anderson do? Make a sugary birthday cake of a movie that gives you diabetes from just looking at it? Maybe.
God damn.
I think that's what
he. Be nice to Wes Anderson. He's a good filmmaker, and I like his films.
I don't want to. Yeah. Well, it is since you're just briefly bringing that up. like I love some of his movies very much, but I also have issues with his lack of stylistic evolution. Let's say I think that there's a point in a filmmaker's career where you're making a film that is so distinctly you, which is great and so fantastic, but it's not just a question of using that visual style in a very specific way constantly. It's the type of stories you're choosing to tell, and then the manner in which you choose to tell them. I think there comes a point where you should, in my opinion, which is very questionable because he's a beloved director, I think it comes to a point where you've got to kind of evolve a little. I mean, look, that doesn't mean, I mean, there's still, Fantastic Mr. Fox is a masterpiece, and I love Rushmore and all that, but like, anyway, but yeah, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm like so nervous now. It's like, what if he watches this one day?
That's
right.
I bet you wouldn't say that to his face.
I'm gonna send this to him.
Send it to him, man. Send it. Hey Wes, I'm sorry, man. Mr. Anderson. I will say he's my second. You
call him sir.
Out of the 4 Andersons that are working in movies, he's probably he's my third favorite. So Paul W. S. Anderson is 4. Then number 3 is Wes. Number 2 is Roy Anderson with the 2 S's, and then Paul Thomas is number 1. Probably how.
Wait, there's 2 Paul Andersons?
Paul W. S. Anderson, the director of such classics like Resident Evil Afterlife and Mortal Kombat, and Paul Thomas Anderson, director of such classics like Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood. So
And what about Paul F. Tompkins? Wait, no, that's
not
a.
Paul F. Tompkins.
Wait, that's not an.
No, but he was in There Will Be Blood, so he counts.
Wait, he was?
Yeah, Paul F. Tompkins is in that scene in There Will Be Blood when Daniel Day-Lewis is giving a spiel like, ladies and gentlemen, if I say I'm an all man, you will agree. And everyone's in that room, and one of the guys watching him, and he's like, I can guarantee you to start drilling and put up the cash to back my word. He's like, and in the background you can see Paul F. Tompkins like staring at him. He's actually there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're not just saying that because he has the Paul F. Tompkins mustache?
No, I'm saying that because he came on a podcast and talked about it openly. Like, he and PTA go back. Like, PTA is close with all those comedians. They're
yeah, of course he is.
Yeah. What do you think of Safian? Let's change this to just a general movie thing. What are some of your favorite filmmakers working today, and what do you just any of them? What do you like about their movies particularly?
Wow, this guy put me on the spot. I don't even, to be honest, I don't even watch films like that,
Get off the show. Hang up now. You told us you love to watch movies all the time.
I live and breathe. No, not like you guys. I'm a mere novice. I really enjoy. I'll tell you one guy who's really got my attention right now is Robert Eggers.
Yes.
I'm so fascinated with this guy and just where he will continue to, just where he's gonna go. The Safdie brothers.
Yes.
They're doing
These
some
are some
interesting
killer
stuff.
names. You're nailing this.
Hey, then I'm gonna stop right there. Quit while
Keep going.
Keep going.
Bet money on this.
Oh man, I don't know. Obviously, you mentioned Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
What's the name of the director that did the films like The Lobster and
Yorgos Lanthimos. Yorgos Lanthimos. Yeah. It's fun. You're mentioning a lot of new blood, apart from P.T. Anderson, who's been around since the mid '90s. Robert Eggers he's only made 2 movies, and and already you're seeing the next generation of great directors, coming up. And this is that Safdies. I mean, the Safdies they all came up together. The Lighthouse was my favorite movie of last year actually. Number 1 for me.
That's brilliant. It really is.
Really good.
Yeah. In fact, I think in a funny kind of way, and I mean this as a complete compliment, Safian, somehow you remind me a little bit of post-Twilight Robert Pattinson.
Hey, look.
What?
Hey,
yeah.
I want to understand this. Yeah.
Because there's a certain ability to internalize that he does, where a lot of it is based on expression, and a lot of it is based on, I don't know, the way he says some of his dialogue. When you're sitting.
Okay, so acting style though, not physically. Yeah, you reminded me a lot about him. You look just like him. I'm just gonna say you remind me a lot of Robert Pattinson. I'm gonna say what? There's gonna be some eyebrows raised.
Yeah, no, he's. I think though Robert Pattinson is he's one of these guys who intentionally went under the radar and just started building himself up
Yeah,
from that, that mess that was Twilight. I mean, he hated those things, on record, and he's done a lot of independent films and he's put in a lot of strong performances. So he's another guy who I see his name and I'm looking forward to seeing him now a lot. You know, got Batman upcoming. We have a Tenet coming up as well. So we'll see how he does in those.
how do you feel about him as Batman actually?
Oh, I was really excited. I think look, when it comes to these things, castings of or recastings of iconic characters, you're never gonna satisfy everybody like at all.
No.
I remember when they announced that Ben Affleck was gonna be Batman. I said, "What the hell is this?" You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I wasn't as outraged as a lot of friends of mine. And I said, "Look, we'll just have to see what he does. At the end of the day, you have an organization and directors and producers who have looked at him and said, okay, he's ticked all the boxes for the direction that we're going in right now." And I really enjoyed
totally.
Ben Affleck. I thought
Same.
he was unfortunate to be maybe in the films that he was in because they lacked maybe direction or just strong storytelling. But I thought for the Batman that he was playing, I really enjoyed him a lot. And I think Robert Pattinson is a really really interesting one because this will be the first time he's going to be attached to another blockbuster type of film since Twilight, and he's you have the director who's is director
Matt
is Matt
Reeves. Matt
Reeves,
Reeves.
another guy who
Amazing.
I enjoy, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. The cast I'm in love with already. I'm already excited just based off that. So we'll
Paul
see.
Dano as the Riddler is genius. Like you can just
Yeah,
see
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
I actually think you brought up a good point about how these like especially with like a role like Batman, but like let's go beyond comic book stuff. Like I think in any like The Lighthouse, I think a lot of that has to do with just the world that the director creates where that actor is inhabiting in.
Yeah,
I think Ben Affleck even said it himself about Batman like that's Zack Snyder's Batman. Like Batman, you can't really play beyond, where's Rachel Harvey, and when you have the atmosphere and the lighting and the cool comic book vibe, like that's something that your Nolan or your Joel Schumacher or your Zack Snyder or your Tim
yeah,
Burton can bring about. So you gotta kind of think of the talent behind as well when you look at these castings.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's again, it goes hand in hand.
Again,
Yeah,
I mean, listen, man. Again, people are always gonna, and I think people are always gonna have something to say, but people are also always up for a good surprise. When
yeah.
when they casted that kid from what was it, A Knight's Tale to play the Joker, doesn't make sense. But look at what we got. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
You know
For
who'd
the
make a
longest
great
time, I
Joker?
couldn't understand why Willem Dafoe wasn't the Joker, but
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolute. Dude,
Yeah.
Safian, I was literally gonna be like, you know what? You know who's gonna make a great Joker? And I was gonna say Willem Dafoe, and you took it from me.
The Lighthouse originally was supposed to be Batman and the Joker, but they couldn't get the rights, so they just made the Lighthouse, and they were
how,
like,
s-
oh,
how
okay,
sick would
fine.
that be? Them on an island. That'd be a nice little.
Yeah, it'd be a great like Elseworld story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, imagine Joker just like telling Batman, like Batman's like. Your cooking tastes like shit, and then Joker being like I'm gonna let Neptune like choke thee, and it's like, why is Joker telling me that in his clown makeup?
If someone knows how to use special effects or something, please edit the Lighthouse to be Batman and Joker.
Yes, please, and thank you. Signed, management
Safian, have you heard of the story of New Mutants?
of the story of New Mutants. I think I have a little bit. You mean like how it keeps
Yes.
being postponed and all that stuff?
Yes, it's a
Yes.
fantastic story. We talked about before. I think it was either our first or second episode,
Okay.
but we kept talking about. We brought it up, and now there's now a plot twist, which I need to bring up, even though no one else wants to hear it.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's go.
so people were thinking that maybe it will go to Disney Plus or maybe something like that, but recently it's now been put on Amazon,
Yeah, Amazon.
on Amazon to pre-order. There's no release date.
Wow.
but it's up there to pre-order. And lots of people are now theorizing because maybe the movie's rated R and Disney Plus has got more like a soft PG-13 rating thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like maybe it's too hard to put on Disney Plus, but like, so no idea when the movie will come out, but you can buy it though. You can pre-order it.
That's
on
crazy.
Amazon. Yeah, so I wanted to throw that update in because I care about this more than anything, and you bet your ass I will watch this movie the moment it comes out.
Why do you care about it so much?
I don't know. It's been 3 years.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it's like legendary meme status almost. What it's turned into.
Yeah.
I want
at this
this movie to keep. I want them to release the DVD, and then when you get it, it's a treasure map, and you have to go on this treasure map to find the actual movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please say a prayer for Toby.
I know. There's
Okay,
got to be
okay.
like a on the Blu-ray. There's got to be like a behind-the-scenes featurette that explains the timeline.
Yeah, definitely.
We had no money. Yeah.
You kept changing the slot. I actually, that reminds me of something that's more grounded to us and stuff we've been through. Not anything to do with New Mutants so much as what happened with New Mutants and a delayed experience with the film. Oftentimes when you're working on student projects or short films, it's pretty long, the post-production. Like it can go on because you're also, if you're doing it completely on your own and you don't have a fixed crew in place, you're switching up editors, you're working it on your own. If you're directing it, so it ends up taking months, and for some cases it even goes on for a year or such, and you're just, and I think it's first off important to tell everyone out there that keep your actors posted and show them cuts of your movie, and or at least give them something they can use at some point for their demo, because it's like new content. It's like you got to make sure that happens. But Safian, I want to ask you, have you been in a situation where you've had to wait just a very long time to see something you did?
Yes, and it's not ideal, man. It really I don't know, for me it really, really frustrates me, especially I don't ever want to feel like I'm chasing after you, or when it starts to become a thing where I feel as if I'm bothering you, then there's an issue, yeah, I know I did some work with some people, and it was like for a video, and man, like this was we shot this probably last year in, was it September or October, and I haven't seen anything from that thing since. I can't even, it's like even with the director that I worked with on it, it's like it's like I just kind of like, hey man, so you got anything I can see? Yeah, and then just vanish. Now and now I haven't had contact with the person, but it's one of those things that you always have to be careful of, because it's like, now even if I get what I want and I see some footage, I'm not gonna feel like working with this person.
Right.
You can send me the thing, but after that I'm like, I'm not gonna really take you
don't
seriously
trust
like
anymore.
that. Yeah, because there's a level of professionalism, even if you're all that broke, nobody's getting paid nothing, but we've committed to do this thing, so let's keep it professional.
Yeah, and at the very least, if you're not going to come out with a finished film even after 9 or 10 months, at least the courtesy of some footage of you, you know what I mean, with sync sound or something.
Yeah. Or just up and look, even if it's not footage, just keep me in the loop.
I remember with another shot that you didn't want to see it until it was ready on the big screen and stuff.
Yeah.
But like with the other actors, I had to always update them. Like, okay, well, this I can give this free reel once we have it color graded, once we go through all the steps, and then when there were changes that we had to adapt, like I had to tell them that, okay, we might change this. This isn't the finished product. But like, you have to communicate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one's gonna want to work with you anymore.
It becomes very difficult.
Essential, yeah. But I mean, with two of you though, and just with your personal projects, is there anything that you're working on right now? How is it that you you're planning on adapting to this situation
Mm.
moving forward.
Toby, you want to answer that first?
Sure. I've been doing a bunch of dumb skits on YouTube. Not YouTube, Instagram, on my Instagram
Yep.
story.
They are very, very funny.
They're great.
Well, that's thank you for saying that. It's nice to know. But it was just making stuff to stay busy. It's also I was learning how to animate yesterday and today. So maybe an animation will come very soon. It'll probably be very crude and not very good, but and I've also been looking back on a lot of scripts which I had to drop originally, and I got this one from 2018 where and I completely rewrote it, and now I know how I'm gonna finish it. And I'm actually really excited to see how that turns out.
That's great.
And also working on pre-production for my next project. So, what about you, Fareed?
Well, I mean, kind of likewise. Well, first off, I shot a project all throughout 2019, literally all throughout the year, shooting an actor, like kind of like the Mike Lee thing, where we came out with the character and then just filmed his life and try to figure out what would become of it. And now I'm sitting at a 30-minute long short film, actually, that I'm cutting together myself from here in India. And whilst also actually I'm starting to outline 2 feature films that I want to at least have in a spec level, very early steps, but I got 2 wonderful co-writers, and we're working on that more often than I thought we would, because oftentimes we're like, we're gonna write a feature, and then weeks go by, but we managed to pull through that, and we were on that. And also, of course, I've got some short films, some scripts short film scripts that, like Toby, I had written previously, and I'm now going back to and trying to get those right. I'm actually thinking of applying one to the CNC in France at some point in September, to try and shoot it in France, try to come back and do something. So yeah, it's hands are full, but I'm treading lightly, as Walter White would say.
Good luck, good luck, good luck.
Thank you, man. And what about you? Are you trying to work on your music or something?
I've been working on music, actually, just during this time, writing, trying to get better at using these programs, just to be more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But no, there have been periods where it's been difficult for me, just in terms of concentration or just showing up.
Yeah.
But it's gotten better now. But
that's good.
that's what I've been doing mostly, man. Just music.
Yeah, it's like,
hopefully I'll be sharing some stuff with you guys.
Looking forward.
Very excited to hear that.
Always looking forward to hearing your stuff and watching your stuff. It's you mentioned something I've also been dealing with, just kind of like pulling ahead, charging through. I mean, even before quarantine, it's very easy for me to fall into lethargy, very easy, and procrastination.
Yeah.
And and like now it's funny how now I'm more actively aware of my procrastination, because I'm so confined, So I actually, in a bizarre twist of fate, that's helped me kind of think on it more, which in turn amplifies the I gotta do something feeling, and then I actually end up somehow being able to have 10 pages done in a day or something, like forging ahead step by step.
No, definitely. I think that there have been some benefits in this situation, maybe.
Yeah.
People that haven't taken the time or made the time to be with themselves, they're forced to, and a lot of good can come from that.
Yeah. Also, like, I'm sure you feel the same way, guys. But like, there's a certain hecticness to living as like indie artists for hire, or trying to find work, but also trying to just get a gig. And there's a lot of like hustling and stuff, and so at this point where the whole world is on pause, you finally, it's honestly felt like in an action movie when there's a small room to breathe in between the big set pieces. It feels a bit like I'm getting a little room to breathe right now, which which I know is not going to be everybody's situation, but I'm lucky in
absolutely. We are very privileged.
Very privileged.
I'm kind of like, my room to breathe needs to be something short, like straight to it. I kind of, at this point, like, I need more substance, like challenges, things to make me not be comfortable. I'm not comfortable being a comfortable position. In fact, yeah. And so you try to reach out, talk to different people, and make a connection, make something different. But that's just me, I guess.
That's important, man.
Sure. No question.
We need that. Yeah, it's never good to be too comfortable. You know, nothing good ever comes out of that.
Yeah.
Or nothing worth remembering.
Yeah. All right, so we're kind of entering our closing section right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So just for closing remarks, I actually just want to end on well, we'll kind of cover it all, but like we've covered a lot of stuff about acting for independent films, acting in general, the creative process. Have you guys? I mean, I'm sure you've heard of him. Have you heard of Charlie Kaufman? Directed Anomalisa. He wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and yeah. And if you've seen the Nicolas Cage film adaptation, he's he's playing Charlie Kaufman in that film, and yeah, and it's just
being John Malkovich too,
which is great, which he wrote. Yeah, he's done some of them. He's one of the best writers we have, and it's something to note about Charlie Kaufman, which has got me thinking is, you know, as creatives, there's a certain I want to say heightened, I will say it, there's a certain heightened understanding, I think, that some of us have towards our own sense of self, you know. What I mean by that is we're often one to introspect and to look inwards and wonder how we're doing, and I think that oftentimes it means that when we're writing our music or our films or our anything, not to get to anything specific, but like inevitably some of our personal insecurities, some of our personal desires, wants, needs, these things, they seep in quite naturally into our work. And I just wonder for both of you, starting with our beloved guest of Safian, do you take comfort in that process, or do you find hesitance in how much of myself is going into this? Should I draw the line? Or are you like, you know what, this is an expression of me, it's an extension of me, just throw it all out there?
For me, it's an extension of myself, and I think just, you know, it's a form of expression. So that's the most natural thing, and I think if I had the times where I felt maybe I needed to, or like, oh, you know, you should hold back. I've never been satisfied. You know, I think
with the result.
Never, man. You know, just I think everybody that I've looked up to, and I do look up to in the field of like art and music, film, they all are incredibly raw with what it is that they're giving you, and you know, when something's real, it's always going to connect. You know, because people feel through things, and you know, they know when something's a bit more conceited, but it always crosses over when it's real, and that's what I gravitate towards, and that's what is the most natural for me with anything that I'm doing as far as art goes.
I kind of have this way that once I write it down, once I pour my heart into it, I have no problem chopping it up into bits and just like cutting things out. Like it's very much a part of me, but I'm also very masochistic in that way, where it's just like, yeah, it's part of me and it's poop, and you just start chopping it up, and it's difficult, and actually it hurts, but it's like, well, this is gonna make the better film. Like another shot, definitely there was a lot of me in that, and then just chopped it up until I knew it was the best version of itself.
I think I wanted to filmmakers, you know, a lot of young filmmakers are a little shy in themselves, I think, and that's great. It's actually it gives them a chance to blossom, you know, it's a starting point. And oftentimes there's this hesitance of truly letting out something on the page or in their verses or whatnot, because it's an extension of something that they may be dealing with. And I think that what you guys have demonstrated is that it's okay to be fearless in your art and to use it as a vessel to let something that either troubles you or something that you feel is so you know, it's an act of self-acceptance in a sense. And I want to, because I have met lots of, you know, people just being around the film circuit and just meeting people. There are people who are like, I wanted to make this thing, but it's so much about me and I don't know. And it did because I also did speak with someone quite recently who was going through that, and I just thought to myself, like, it's okay. So anyway, that was kind of what I wanted to talk about. Safian, man, what can I say? I want to thank you for coming on our show, and you've been a delight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I think yeah, it's been a pleasure. Enjoyed the conversation, and I think this is a really good thing that you guys have started. To, just keep on going, keep on growing.
Safian,
I'll be listening.
Thank you, sir.
Safian, you're one of my favorite actors that I've ever worked with, and
thank you,
I consider myself lucky to ever work with you.
Hey, likewise, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll extend that what exactly just Toby said. It applies for me too, man. Really, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go to work. It's gonna happen. All right, well, all right. So everybody, thanks for tuning in to Tail Slate. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and catch you guys later. Take care.
Thank you very much, guys.
Peace.